Did you correctly answer D, 80%? Even though the reported average teacher salary is $53,975, in reality, 80% of North Carolina school districts have a lower average salary. In fact, the gap between the wealthiest counties and the higher supplemental counties is about $10,000 less per year. Now, joining us now are two great North Carolina teachers who are here to talk about developing teacher leaders. Paige Pittman, making her first appearance on Education Matters. Julie was the 2018 Western Region Teacher of the Year. She's an English teacher in Rutherford County Schools, has been there since 2003, I believe. Yes. And Freebird, McKinney, making his return to Education Matters. That's right. You're like old news now. You're the 2018 North Carolina Teacher of the Year.
That's right.
So Mariah's has taken the mantle but you are a social studies teacher, high school in Alamance Burlington Schools. So welcome both of you to Education Matters. All right. So we're going to talk about a new effort. You and Julie have been working on, because I've been talking to you about it for some time, for the past year, on a new effort to really engage teachers in a new sort of leadership program, really targeting to sort of help get our students ready. You gave me some background on it. It's called Ed Lead NC. So Julie, I'm going to start with you first. Sort of what was the impetus behind creating this? We're going to talk more about the program, but just tell me a little bit about sort of why that you and Freebird started working on this.
Well, I think when we first started our friendship together, when we were both in the Regional Teacher of the Year program about a year ago, we were talking about really some gaps in education and gaps for teachers in professional development. And Freebird had been a participant in a Teacher Leadership Academy in Alamance Burlington school system with Impact Alamance and their Teacher Leadership Academy. And when he spoke to me about it, I was really intrigued and thought, I really think that I could do this in Rutherford County. There are some gaps, I think, all across the state in terms of professional development and teacher engagement, teacher excitement, student achievement, preparing for the workforce. And so looking at those things and trying to decide how I could make an impact in my own district really excited me. And so we began to plan, and I met with my superintendent, Dr. Janet Mason, and got her approval. And then she and I really developed out a program for our year and selected some teachers and have just finished out our first year with it.
So you've been piloting this in Rutherford County, and I think the goal is that you and Freebird want to actually see this expand and start doing a program like this in other districts across North Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, now Freebird, let me ask, it says educator culture transformation, and you're talking about issues. I mean, these are things that we talk about on the show, and I certainly care about personally. Equity, global education, sort of a global awareness, civic engagement, workforce development. Now, they're all great things, but I think, I don't know, maybe people might be watching, well, isn't the most important thing that teachers need to do is to know the content that they're teaching? Isn't that what they should be focused on? How do these things, how do these fit in to what a teacher's role should be?
Yeah, and so I think what this program did for me personally is while we have professional development that's geared towards content, geared towards classroom management, but what's really missing is there are opportunity gaps in our profession to see ourselves as a conduit. So transcending the walls of our classrooms and even our schools, and really getting out in experiential opportunities and building those connections with our businesses, with our chambers of commerce, with our local government. And for a teacher, many times, our time is geared towards preparing for our kids. It's building lesson plans. It's grading. And so we felt like this program, what it did is it gave intentional days to where our superintendent approved it and was always there, Dr. Bill Harrison, in the early stages of this. And it made us feel this understanding that we are professional really help, I think, with recruitment and retention. And then these pathways that we're looking at, these are closing opportunity gaps for our educators so that then we can work with that whole child while we're in the classroom. So like you said, equity, how do we really assess the needs and serve the needs of our students? And so these opportunities for us to go out in our community and see the organizations that are doing this. We work on a day of juvenile justice. Then we work on workforce development. So what are the industries and businesses that are are out there that can provide internships, and then global educational opportunities for both our teachers, and then how do they then kind of use those opportunities and experiences in the classroom.
Right. Well, Joe, I mean, like I've heard, sometimes you'll hear folks who may say something like, well, the focus should be on the children and the students in the classroom, not the adults in the building. I've kind of heard that. But I mean, isn't they're really, you can't separate that.
They're hand in hand.
You've got to have good, high quality, motivated teachers who want to stay in their profession, but who can also bring in the sort of relevant real world experience for their students, right?
Absolutely, and I think what this allows us to do is capitalize on the opportunities that are in our own community to lock arms with organizations and people who really want to help our students and help our teachers become better and more engaged in the community in which they live, and want to stay there and continue to provide opportunities for others once they get out of the classroom. And it also allows teachers to understand that their classroom really isn't just those four walls. And they might not know without something like this what opportunities lie beyond the school building. This allows them to be able to see that, to make connections, to network with people in the community who are really invested in our students and our future workforce, and really just make our whole community better.
Right. Well, do teachers have time? First, teachers I know, they're living on caffeine and Red Bull. There's a lot of hours, but is there time to do this? Are there some changes that the state or individual districts need to do to allow time for teachers to do this?
And I think that's the intentionality of the educator culture transformation. We talk about the professionalization of education, particularly of anybody who's working with our students, so educators as a whole. And this program builds out intentional days, so between 6 and 10 days, depending on what the district's looking at, and allows for those teachers to experience these opportunities out in the community so that they can spend a day with other fellow educators in their districts, talk about some of the issues and some of the barriers they're facing, but then collectively over lunch or over bus rides, wherever we're going, to talk about the solutions, because this whole program is about building solutions to overcome many of the barriers that we see in public education today.
Are you only focused on current teachers, or are you starting? I know this is early. This is early days. This is a one-year pilot in. But are you thinking about how do you back this up into educator preparation programs too? Because some of the things you're talking about would make sense to me if you're like, when you guys went through your College of Education, that some of this would be part of the curriculum.
Absolutely, and we've been able to partner with and have conversations with multiple institutes of higher education, specifically with educator preparation programs that are not only giving us ideas for how we can build in that preparation for future teachers, but how they can then give back to teachers who are already veterans and in the classroom. In our district, we were able to partner with a local UNC system school, go and tour that school. They helped us with grant writing, with understanding what educator preparation looks like now, because those teachers have been out of their own classroom and in their workforce classroom for several years now. So what does it look like? How can they give back? And what's the cyclical nature of education?
So what is the role of the community in all of this? I'm sure there are people watching the show, business leaders watching it. What is the best role for them if they want to help with a school?
Well, and I think particularly with the two districts that we've worked with in Alamance and in Rutherford, the community is where everything, so our students are growing up, they're going to be future citizens, they're going to be, or they are current citizens, they're going to be future voters, they're going to be spending money at the businesses, they're going to be buying cars, they're going to be buying homes, they're going to be, involved in civic organizations. So we feel like, why don't provide these opportunities now for our educators so that then they can go back, share out with our students. And what we've also done is slowly started to develop student leadership academies that mirror the teacher leadership academies in both of our districts to now provide those opportunities to our students.
Well, and I think we're out of time, but what's really cool to me is, I think that one of the things we want to be able to do here in North Carolina is, if people want to stay in their hometown and that's where they want to make their lives work, they should be able to do that. Now, not everyone wants to do that, but I like that you're looking at making real meaningful connections between students, teachers, and the community. So great work. We'll put some information on our website so if people want to reach out to you too and also just learn more about the program. But we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and after that, this week's final word.